The return of Oompa Loompas into your life is only one of 5 great picks this week. But what more do you really need? Along with a prequel to a childhood classic about, well, chocolate, we've got the return of Percy Jackson, now in series form, a very Bradley Cooper movie, a dramedy starring highly underrated Jeffrey Wright, and season 2 of one of Prime's best shows. And that's not a reach. It's all coming up on this week's What to Watch.
Mr. Wonka, I can see you're a man of great ingenuity.
What are you doing?
I'm making chocolate, of course. How do you like it? Dark, white, nutty, absolutely insane.
Bringing the Oompa and the Loompa to theaters is the musical fantasy film Wonka. The first reason to check this one out is that it serves as a prequel to the 1971 classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and features Wonka's early days as an eccentric chocolatier. Hey, isn't eccentric chocolatier going on tour next spring? Another reason is that this film stars Timothée Chalamet, who was director Paul King's only choice after seeing Chalamet's high school singing and dancing performances on YouTube. He's joined by a supporting cast that includes Olivia Colman, Keegan-Michael Key, and Hugh Grant as, wait for it, an Oompa Loompa. Thirdly, director King is actually well suited for this gig, considering he has the family-friendly Paddington and Paddington 2 on his resume, the latter of which was the best reviewed movie on Rotten Tomatoes ever for a time. By the way, Paddington 2 is one of the best movies ever made. We will fight you if we have to.
Percy, the stories I have told you about Greek gods and monsters, they are real.
Premiering on Disney Plus this week is the new series Percy Jackson and The Olympians. The main reason to give this show a chance is that it comes from a series of very popular fantasy novels first published in 2005, with a 6th installment that came this year and another one coming in 2024. There's also 2 prequel book series and some other related short stories as well. So if this new show is popular, you know there's more where that came from. Of course, you may remember the Percy Jackson movies that came in 2010 and 2013, starring Logan Lerman and Alexandra Daddario, which are both rotten on the tomato meter, mostly due to deviations from the source material. But unlike those movies, this series will have the book's author Rick Riordan heavily involved to make sure things stay true to his work. The third reason to watch this show is the cast, which is a mix of newbies led by Walker Scobell as Percy, and veterans like Megan Mullally, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and the late Lance Reddick in his final TV appearance. R.I.P.
I love people so much that it's hard for me to be alone. That music, it keeps me glued to life.
Crescendoing its way into Netflix this week is the biopic Maestro. And perhaps the main reason to orchestrate a way to see this is that it's based on an American composer, Leonard Bernstein, and his relationship with wife Felicia Montealegre. So you'll learn a thing or two, of course through the lens of Hollywood, that is. A second big reason to watch Maestro is Bradley Cooper. Sure, he stars in it as Bernstein, but he also directed the movie and co-wrote it with Josh Singer, who, by the way, won an Oscar for writing Spotlight. Call that reason 2.1. The cast also includes Carey Mulligan as Montealegre, plus Matt Bomer, Maya Hawke, she's related to Ethan by the way, and Sarah Silverman. The third reason to take the time to enjoy this film is that after premiering in the Venice Film Festival in September, it's already very certified fresh with a high audience score to go with it. It's like when the brass and the woodwinds blend perfectly together, or something.
Monk, your books are good, but they're not popular. Editors, they want a black book.
They have a black book. I'm black, and it's my book.
Opening in theaters this week is the dramedy film American Fiction. The first thing that jumps out with this one is the equally fun and thought-provoking story about a frustrated black novelist who jokingly writes an overly stereotypical black book out of spite that unexpectedly becomes a hit. Secondly, the cast is stacked, led by Jeffrey Wright in the lead role and folks like Tracy Ellis Ross, Issa Rae, and Sterling K. Brown also along for the ride. So good. Third reason you'll want to stay true to seeing American Fiction is that it's already a certified fresh hit with critics, with much praise going to Wright and his, quote, committed approach to the pointedly humorous and insightful material.
They were tortured. They dumped them from a helicopter. And they're coming after us. Good.
And coming back for a highly anticipated second season is the Prime show Reacher. This series made a huge splash when it debuted in 2022, becoming the first Amazon production to be, quote, most streamed series for its first week, according to the Nielsen streaming rankings. Not to mention it's certified fresh with critics. If that's not reason enough to reach for the remote, it's worth noting that this show is, of course, based on the popular series by Lee Child, which began back in 1997 and is still going strong today. Reading is good. And speaking of the book series, the third reason to check this one out is the show's star, Alan Ritchson, who fits the book's profile of Jack Reacher perfectly, and much more so than the movies did. meaning Richardson is big and bulky and Tom Cruise, well, isn't either of those things. Still love you, Tom. All right, we did it. 5 picks that seriously all look really good. I don't know how else to say it. Be sure to let us and your fellow viewers know in the comments what you did check out, whether it was on this list or not. Remember to check out RottenTomatoes.com for the latest updates on scores and reviews for everything mentioned, as well as the movie and TV world at large. That's all for today, Fresh Family. Until next week, stay fresh.